Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Here in the Carolinas, it's been rainy, and I think it just quit raining a little minute ago. So we're going to rainy on one of these beautiful rainy days. Uh, so I love them. I love rainy days. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I like cloudy days too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feels good to me. I prefer that to sunny days for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
You do too?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I know you love rain.
Mm-hmm.
You like to get out in the rain. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care to get out in the rain. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are here
Yeah,
with us. Let
welcome.
us know if you're hearing us and seeing us clearly. I am going to check to see who's came in the house, who's come in the house this morning.
Sylvia
Let's
there.
see. My sister and my brother-in-law, they came in early this morning. Came in about 9:44. Then Laverne came in too. She came in so early. She came in about 9:54. Hello, Kathy. Glad you're here, sweetheart. She said,
Mm-hmm.
Grand Rising, pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking you how you feeling, Pastor.
Well, I'm trying to get through it.
Yeah.
Uh,
But how are you feeling?
Sitting down is okay.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Standing up is.
He got real active day before yesterday and was walking around without the cane or the walker and messing around in the garage with some wheels and stuff. And I think he might have overdone it just a little bit.
I did.
And then so he couldn't rest real good yesterday and last night. But he's still on the mend, sweetheart. Still on the mend. Thank you for asking. She's praying for you to be well today. Okay.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Juliana, it's good to see you here, sweetheart. Haven't seen you here for a while, and I think you've probably been watching. I just recognize that that you're commenting today. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
tuning in. Dee Dee and George, hello, hello,
George and
hello,
Short
hello.
Britches Dion.
Short britches.
Mm-hmm.
Why short
I
britches?
call them short britches. When the britches don't go no higher than their ankles.
I can't see your eyes.
Oh, I'm here.
It's a shadow, and you look like you're about to go to sleep. Hey, Deb. Hey, Deb.
Deborah,
Good morning, Sandra.
Deborah
Brother
Lee.
Blue, hope
Brother
you're
Blue,
feeling
hope you're doing
okay this
better.
morning.
Last night, I
Brother
talked
Blue,
to
you
him.
guys be in prayer with Brother Blue. He had a slight accident on this week and got a little banged around, but he's at home on the mend, and just keep him in prayer and uplifting him with love and light. And Tammy, glad you're here, sweetheart. Glad you tuned in today. There's Kim. Kim, how did that baby shower go? Tell me for Essence. And they had a baby shower the same day we had your birthday celebration, and for her for Essence. So Essence has how many more months? When is she due? Let us know when she's due. Hello, Jill. Jill. Good morning to you,
Jill,
sweetie. You still got the girls around? Hope you are doing well this morning. Brother
Mr. James
Kessler, good
Kesselmeyer.
morning to you.
James Kesselmeyer.
Jill says she loves the rain too. I do too. I like the rain. Baby girl, of course, likes to get out in the rain. She doesn't care if it's raining. And so
No, she don't care about snow, rain.
I had to walk her in the rain this morning. We had these two chairs, little small lawn chairs sitting out near our garage. And when it rains, they're made of canvas. And when it rains, it puddles in those chairs, in the seats of those chairs. And baby girl has this thing she likes to do. Whenever it rains, she runs over to those chairs because she wants me to tip them so the water will come out and she can bite at the water. So she gets soaked. She gets soaked. Her beard gets soaked.
Her beard.
Her beard. Yeah, her beard. A girl with a beard.
Fuzzy face.
Right, a girl with a beard. Kim said she's due in February. Okay.
Yeah. I've been due too.
You've been due.
I went to the drugstore and I told him, I said, I want me a box of OBGYN. I said, my gynecologist sent me to get this order. They all stopped in frozen position, said, Did I hear him right? I said, yes, you did.
You tend to shock people like
I
that.
said, I want my OBGYN box of gynecology.
Hmm.
Send it to me right now. I got my card ready and I'm ready to check it out.
Okay.
I ain't
Well,
got but 8 months to go.
okay. You've been due for about 4 or 5 years.
Sure have.
You're wearing a different hat now. This hat is not your normal Christmas hat.
It'll do, won't it?
It'll do, but it's not your normal Christmas
You want me
hat.
to change?
Only if you want to.
I would, but it's too far from me. I had to use my walker to get to it, and I don't want to walk it. I got walk. I got tired of fooling with it.
Yeah, he's tired of the walker, but you gotta keep it, sweetie,
It makes
until
noise
you're
all through the
better.
house. I had it fixed with rubber wheels on. I had to take them off because I couldn't turn it.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
put the
That's why his back probably got all messed up because he was out there messing with those wheels. Anyway, we could talk about that forever.
Pearl J. Lucas. That's what your name. That's what you got up there.
Let's do our affirmation. Now, let's do our meditation today. I'm going to ask the questions again. Okay, let's gear ourselves in, put ourselves into that space that is non-physical. Non-physical. Remember, these questions are not relative to your body at all. Good morning, Keely. Good morning to you, sweetheart.
Keely J.
Hope you and Mark are doing well.
Hope so.
So these questions are not relative to your body or your mind, not relative to your history, your upbringing, nothing that you've experienced earthly. Pearl likes your hat.
Oh, thank you, Miss
Sandra
Pearl.
likes your hat.
Who?
Sandra and Pearl like your hat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So remember, these questions again are not relative to your physical existence at all. So when we answer these questions, and I don't want them to become redundant to you, so I want you to really, whenever they're asked, I want you to slow yourself down before you answer. Don't just immediately answer, because we have done this so many times till the mind has now memorized how it should be said. So I want you to answer from that true place of where you're actually seeing what you are when you answer the question, okay? I thought I needed to say that because I know how our minds are. It'll latch onto it, and before you know it, we're just answering it based on the way we always did. So I want you to really allow the answer to arise from the inside of you. I want you to do just like we always say, leave your mind outside, leave your desires, your aspirations, your concerns, everything, leave that outside right now, just like you would a pair of shoes. Just put it aside. We don't need any of that right now. This is the most important hour that we have today because it is the only hour we have right now. So in this present moment, I want you to suspend every thought about the past, every thought about the future. I want you to just sit it aside for a while. All past memories, let those go as well. But just a little bit. You don't have to hold on to them for this moment. Any thoughts about how you want this session to go, what you're expecting from this session, all of those things. Let that just go. Nothing in your imagination. You don't need to imagine anything right now. Let that go too. Just be here as empty as you can. Just be here as empty as you can. And I want you to answer these questions. You can choose to type it in if you want, or you can just listen and answer from your being right there where you are inside yourself if you want to do that. So let's do this. These questions are not for the body and not for the mind. This that you are, does it have a shape or a size? Allow yourself to feel the answer. Does it have any weight? This that you are, can it be touched? Can it disappear? Can it be confused? Does it have any fear? How old is it? This that you are, can it be lost? Is it far from you? Can it be sick? Or can it die? Is it ever gone? Can it be bound? Does it ever change? We know the body changes, the mind changes all the time. But this that you are, does it ever change? Does it want anything? The mind wants a lot of things. Whatever it sees that it's attracted to, whatever appeals to it. The body wants a lot of things. It craves certain tastes, certain feelings. But this that you are, does it want anything? Is it waiting for the next moment? Is it right now saying, I wish we hurry up and get through with this so I can do this or I can do that, or I'd like to hear something different? Is that what it's saying, or is that what the mind is saying? Is it waiting for the next moment? This that you are, does it care about the future? Is it afraid of failing, or is it afraid of succeeding? Is it afraid of either? Is it imagined or real? What is it that's witnessing this? What sees this? This that you are, does it ever get older? Does it have personality? Does it have any judgments or opinions of what's happening or what's not happening, of others, how they behave or not behave? Does it have opinions about that? Is it religious? Can it be blocked in any way? What can block it? Since it's not relative to the body and not relative to the mind, not even relative to the feelings and emotions. So can it be blocked in any way? When was it born? Is there any place that it is not? Does it have a color? Is it any race? Are you really black? Are you really white? Are you Asian? Or Indian? Since you're not relative to the body, are you any of those? And where did it come from? Where did that you are come from?
And we're not talking about oneness of flesh. We're talking about oneness of spirit.
Yeah. And if this is what you are, can it go away? Can it be lost? Can you lose it? Can you lose what you are? So if I feel I lost it, that must be an illusion and a lie, because I cannot lose what I am. I am simply at that time lost in feelings or lost in thoughts. But what I am cannot be lost. I think I'll stop right there. So that you are is that is real. Anything else relative to the body and the mind is only a belief and a memory or a sensing of being an individual in a body. And it's just a form of the dream. You are now eternal, complete, free. And what you are is described as presence, is described as awareness, is described as consciousness, is described as life, is described as spirit, is often called emptiness, or it can even be called beingness, as Pastor calls it, oneness. And in its essence, what you are is essence, is essential. What you are is, like I was reading this morning about Meister Eckhart said this, that you are, everyone has the seed of God in them. So if you are that seed of God,
that essence,
that seed of God, when it germinates and sprouts, it grows God. It grows God. And so it is. And so it is. We'll stop right there. We'll stop right there. I think that was enough right there for us to really find ourselves today. This is a good place to find ourselves. Okay.
Now, what does namaste mean? Namaste.
namaste. The Christ in me
Mm-hmm.
honors the Christ in you.
It is said, God sent God as the Holy Spirit, us, self, to himself. God is the only, he is living the God life in us. And so it is he that lives the true Christian life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he does not label himself as a Christian, but as a Christ.
As Christ, yes.
As Christ.
As Christ, exactly.
The Son of God, which means every one of us have always been a son of God before going into the brick and mortar or somebody saying, I'm saved, born again. I done found out that God has never disowned us because we were not governing ourselves according to the brick and mortar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or according to religiosity, or according to titles.
Or labels.
On labels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Only 3 parts of God that seem to be in 3 live as us living the godly life.
Mm. Mm.
Want me to read again?
Yes.
These are things that I wrote down.
Yes.
Only 3. God appears as 3, but yet 1 inside of us.
And inside of us, still 1 because there is not 2 of us.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, if you listen to this and take it to the heart, not let your mind mess with it, let your heart be seasoned with what it's been waiting to hear. The Holy Spirit is the breath of God.
Mm-hmm.
When Adam's body was breathed into, that was the spirit of us, our true identity, coming into the body, the physical body,
and activating it.
And that's right, activating it.
Mm-hmm.
Adam was not born; he did not grow.
Exactly.
Spiritually.
Yes. Yes.
Eve was taken from him, bone of bone and flesh of flesh, and she was him coming out of his self.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Without any agent of being a false him, homosexual, or any other part. That stuff didn't come till after the fall, but it was.
It is the fall. That is the fall.
The fall, because that didn't come till everybody became individualized, separated from their true identity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody better talk to me out there.
Can I stop you for just a moment? Because you made me remember the poem that I wrote about man's first sight of God in the creation. And you're talking about the breath of God. And this is how it went. And if I can do this quickly for you. It says, with a deep gasp, and this is when man took that breath. Yep. That breath came into that body. With a deep gasp, I was awakened to see the figure of one hovering over me. The smell of fresh dirt was still in my nostrils, lingering, as the figure leaned forward and stretched forth his finger. And with the tip, he began to shape and trace every contour of my face. Suddenly, I felt an intense urge to move, and with my finger extended, I felt the grooves of the valleys and the ridges in his face. I, like him, began to trace. And as I did, it became clearer and clearer that the one I saw was but a mirror, the express image of myself. And then I knew there could be only one and never two. There is no I, there is no he. The soul of this clay is the I that is we.
But talk to me about that. This stuff is heavy.
Mm.
Adam was the life-giving spirit, meaning this.
Yes.
He gave himself to himself in order for himself to be perfectly designed without any flaws, based on oneness with God.
Yes.
Adam was the first person of God. He was the first
to be God
to
in
be
the earth.
God.
In
That's
the
right.
earth.
That's right.
Yes. Wow.
No language,
No language.
just communication.
Yes.
The language was the same all the way through.
There was no language. So there could not have
It was
been
nothing but
between
pure
Adam
communication.
and God, there could not have been words
No
and
words.
sentences.
There were no words. So when you read in John first, or whatever it is, God created the world by his word. He spoke
there was
it into
nothing
existence.
To speak to.
There was no
and there were
Greek,
no languages.
German, Ebonics.
So that says to me how God really communicates. He's heart to heart.
Listen, when I was up in the clouds of heaven on the highway in the sky, I was watching myself being my true self outside of my body. I stood there and I looked at my feet, and my feet looked back at me. Whoa.
Because your feet are not you.
That's right.
They're only there as a servant as a vehicle to serve you.
I was consciousness looking, what about 380 degrees? Is that what you call that? In all directions. 360. I mean.
That's why I said we are called so many different things. We're called oneness. We're called essence. We're called presence. We're called awareness. And at that moment, you were awareness, and that's it.
That's right. I saw me standing there, and the question was asked in stillness without moving my lips. To my feet, I looked, and my feet saw. My feet could talk. My knees could talk.
Because awareness is all through our being.
My legs could
talk. But you are that is aware of your legs talking and your feet talking.
It said to itself, and the highway in the sky was made out of me. I looked at the highway and I said, how far is it from where I'm standing to the end of this highway? And with a perfect question came a perfect answer. It said 1,000 miles. And when it said it, it created the move of God that I was with 3 steps. And I never moved from that position with 3 steps.
And you really just took those 3 steps for fun. That's because right. You didn't have to make a step at all.
When I looked again, I was at the end of the highway.
Oh my gosh, that's something.
I looked across the blue water, the living water, at the city of God, which was still a part of me. I created it. And I raised my spirit body leg to step out there. And my high self, which was the Father, spoke to me and said, it's not time yet.
Your higher self was you speaking to your mind, saying it is not
time yet. Then I looked to my right, and there was a machine that was sitting there beside me, waiting on me to step in it. It was called the Merkabah,
which was a chariot that God rode down in and still does when he wants to communicate something prophetically or
Yep.
inspirationally to us,
Yep.
he rides that Merkabah, and we ride in it with him.
I got inside of it by knowing.
Yes, yes.
When I got inside the
he allowed you
machine,
to see it.
I
That's
saw it.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I saw it.
Most of us don't ever see it.
I saw it.
We experienced it, but we don't
saw
ever
it.
see it.
When I sat down, got ready to sit down, it formed its potential as me.
Mm-hmm.
And it sit around me and had arms on it that was square. It was made out of liquid, life-like alloyed substance. And I put my arm on the side of it. It was made out of the gifts of the Spirit, all 9 of them, and some that I didn't name. And all I had to do was think about it and turn it around.
So as you moved, it moved.
It was me moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I came to the end of the highway, it disappeared, and I was standing on my feet looking through the portal that took me up at it, and I was looking at you down here painting a door in a room. Now I'm telling you what happened. Now listen to this.
Yeah, you've told this story before.
I know it.
Yeah.
When it comes down to God and us, he didn't have but one language, and that one language from Genesis to a certain point was the same for everybody.
Yeah.
And out of that one language, they were speaking from oneness, the language of all of us in the earth.
Mm-hmm. There is only one language.
That's
that
right.
God language. Yeah.
God's language is in every one of us, and the language is in all of us. One of us and all of us.
So, Pastor, that tells me this, that one of the reasons that a lot of us have not experienced hearing the voice of God or have trouble hearing the voice of God is because we're trying to relate to God with our minds.
That's right.
And God doesn't relate to the mind.
God chose to make everybody from up to the Tower of Babel one language.
And God does not see separate bodies.
Mm-hmm.
He can see separate. It can see separate bodies because it is separate bodies. It is separate bodies. It is separate identities.
If it was not for the ego,
it sees itself as one. If
it was not for the ego and what is ego covered up by Satan, Lucifer, if it was not for that, there would be no spiritual war.
Yes, yes, yes.
We would automatically speak the language of God because we are made out of it in our eternal self. And all of us are made out of the same substance of one language. Oneness of God is one with all of us speaking the same thing. As oneness in us, as us, we see as and hear everything that God speaks clearly. But the ego gives off the idea that we have to fast and pray and seek him to get it.
Now listen to this. This is in Ephesians 4. It says here, and I'm going to read it for the sake of those of us who haven't read the scriptures, but I'm going to read it because it's giving me a whole different interpretation right now. It says that Jesus, now that he ascended, well, let me go back up. He said, unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ, the measure of how I see Christ in myself, as myself. Wherefore he says, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? That's our body.
Now I see it.
He ain't talking about hell. He ain't talking about under the dirt. He's talking about our bodies.
That's
okay.
Right.
And he says, he that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things, that he might fill our whole being. And he gave some. Listen, he didn't give something. He gave some apostles. He gave people. He gave us. He didn't give gifts. He gave men, women, children. He gave us apostles. He gave us as apostles, us as prophets, us as evangelists, us as pastors, us as teachers. Listen to this. For the perfecting of the saints.
Let's go.
For the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. One body. One body. He don't see but one body. One, the body of Christ. He sees that. And I'm not talking about a church. And I'm not talking about a building.
No.
I'm talking about all of us in unity. It's one body. One body. And then he said this, until we all come in the unity of the faith. Unity. Till we all come into the understanding that we are one. Just one. Then he said this, and of the knowledge of the Son of God, till we all come into a perfect man. One man. Just one man. Unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. So it's in our union with one another. It's in our unity with one another, in our understanding of being one and not many, that brings us to the full stature of what Christ is as the Son of God. And then there is the fullness of Christ, which means then we see the miracles, then we see the things that we physically want to see.
That's right. Now, oneness with God means everything that he is as spirit, we are.
Yes.
God in us is our accurate self as us. He is our true identity as us. God in us see himself as all of God is as us. God fixed it so that when he spoke to himself in us as him, that the perfect self, God is the only perfect us inside these bodies. Not some, yet he could, if you could say the man upstairs, he's upstairs, but he's also downstairs.
And not only just in these bodies, but as these bodies.
That's right.
Because these bodies are miracles walking around.
We talking miracle talk now. It don't sound like it, but it is. I asked the pastor last night, I said, all this stuff we talking about, do you tell your people this? He said, no. Because if he did, he said some of them would get it and some wouldn't. I can tell you, I wanted to tell them the whole thing. I tell you what happened, because the others don't understand it and ready to move over into being and seeing exactly who they are versus who they're not. They would go into our ego rage and say, find it in the Bible. And it's in there.
You know, just made me think of something. When we're in school, physical school, educational, secular school, there were times when the teacher, this is particularly in elementary school, I think.
I went and didn't learn nothing.
You did learn everything.
What?
But anyway, there were times when the teacher knew that there were certain children in the room.
That's right.
That could grasp what needed to be said.
That's right.
And then there were some children who could not.
That's right. That's right.
And in order to help those who could not, they would refrain from going too fast.
That's right.
Into those things that the other kids could pick up quickly.
That's right. That's right.
So there was a balance. And what is happening and for whatever reason, God has put the two of us in a situation where we speak to those that are mature. who have gone past the milk.
Yep.
They don't want to just eat. They don't want to just drink milk. They want some meat.
Mm-hmm.
And so some teachers, some pastors, some ministers must give small chunks of this truth.
Yeah.
And not so much to protect their empire, their sandbox, whatever you want to call it, not just to protect that, but because they realize some people are not going to get it.
That's right.
And so they're trying to help those to pull them up.
That's right.
Pull them up slowly. So there's in churches, I would say in churches, there is a need for advanced classes where people who can handle it can hear it.
That's right. That's right.
So this is an advanced class for those of you who can hear. And Jesus said that it was given unto you. It's a gift to be able to understand the mysteries. It's a gift. And if you understand the mysteries and you're able to hang in there with what we're saying, and it resonates with you, even when your head don't get it, you still want to hear it. That's the gift that God has given you to understand mysteries.
If God ever appears to you, he will appear to you from inside yourself, standing on the outside, looking back at himself. But the mind gives off the idea that God came from another place.
Yeah.
Like the moon, the stars, and all the planets and out there in space. God is all space, distance, and time.
Everything is inside of God. Everything is inside.
So that means that everything that God is. So, nah, the Spirit didn't give all of God. He gave it out with measure. Listen, you sitting there looking at us. Are we talking to you in measures? All of us are in the room at the same time talking to you on the computer. Now, but the book then said you need to go further than the book because the author of the book
the book probably does say it, but they just haven't read it.
And since you can't find it, why not go with the fact, the reality that there is an author to the book, and that author of the book is in you as you.
Now, Jesus said this. This is when in Matthew 13:10.
You're going to tear them up now.
No, I didn't tear them up. But
that's a good one.
In the 10th verse, and the disciples came to Jesus and said, why do you speak to them in parables? Why aren't you just saying it the way it really is to them? And he answered and said unto them, because it's given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it's not given.
Now, what that means this. The ego is the one that gives off the idea that God can't speak to you if you hadn't cleaned up.
And Jill said this, and she's so right. It's definitely grace to have the ability to understand these sessions. And there are others who speak even more deeply in the mysteries than we do.
That's right. That's right.
And it is a special grace that's given to those of you who can hear that.
Now, we're talking some heavy stuff here, but it's real light compared to what it's going to be when it's revealed to you.
Yes, it is.
It's going to blow you away. Now look at this. When God spoke, or when God speaks, he imparts himself as himself.
Yes. So in the event that I have a communication from God, that was God actually imparting itself.
Look out now. You're saying it. It's
because
rough
there's nothing that can issue from God without God issuing in it.
That's right. There you go. Ain't this stuff sweet? It's nice, ain't it?
God only issues itself out.
He imparts himself When God does any movement at all, He's moving inside of you. You're just not aware of it.
Yes, yes.
So
yes,
God
yes.
is us as us. So we are one with God. As one with God, we are one with each other over the universe. God in us has poured Himself into us as Himself, looking and speaking like it's us speaking, but there is no us.
Okay, now stop right there.
It's called God imparted self
We
to
know
Himself.
the us that we believe we are is God. So
That's
we
right.
understand that.
That's
yes,
right.
yes.
Each of us.
I want you to type this in.
Okay.
I am so glad that God has delivered me from church brain.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Religious sickness. I am so glad God has delivered me from church brain and religious sickness.
Before anything was created, we existed inside of God.
Yeah, that's the thought. And God actually imagines us into existence. If He wasn't thinking me now, I wouldn't be here. God is thinking all of this into existence. There is no other creator. John says, I'm so glad. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am too, John. Yep. I am so glad that God has delivered me from church brain and religious sickness.
And you know what it says here? The Lord possessed me in the beginning of His way and before the works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there was no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet He had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest parts of the dust of the world. When He prepared the heavens, I was there.
I was there.
Take me to the water.
Take me to the water.
Take me to the water.
To be baptized.
To show me I'm baptized. I smelled something cooking. And it smelled like a rocket cooking.
And you know what? When you hear this and you know this, there is so much freedom from worrying.
I can't believe that. I can't believe I hear that on television.
What?
She said, I'm so glad God delivered me.
Yeah. I'm so glad
God delivered me from the church brain and religious sickness. I wrote that in my notes.
Yes.
Stood on the highest hill and watched God. Heard the voice of God because I was clear enough from the division of separation. I was moved by God to even come here to mess with this stuff.
Yes, and in the Lord's Prayer, the revision of the Lord's Prayer says, "Shall your kingdom be recognized and realized in these bodies made from the earth, as it is in all dimensions beyond this physical existence."
Now listen to this. The ego language is war, fighting, greed,
fear, doubt,
greed, 1, 2, 3, and 10 separated.
Yep.
The ego is the language. Listen to this. Now watch this. This is a trick here. The ego is the language of God, the language of God coming and not coming to us, causing us not to hear. It is the false language of God coming to us.
What is the false language of
The
God?
false language of God is separation, individuality, and it is
The ego language, you mean?
ego language
Okay.
is sickness, pain, and suffering.
Hate.
The ego language is the wars that's
It's
fighting
hate,
in
doubt,
the earth.
fear,
Hate, doubt, sickness,
anger, all of those things.
the ego is the confusion of where God is. If you notice with God in us, you ask people where God is, he say he's
And you still, because you
the man up in the sky.
because something here still feels like it's not connected.
Somebody said ego was a sickness. I hear it says
It is
now
a
the
sickness.
ego is the cancer.
Yes. Well, look, type this in. I am so glad I'm being delivered from the sickness of the ego.
Ego is what causes us not to speak directly from God inside of us. It is the God of misplaced communication and language.
Yes, 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 yes.
The sooner you see this,
so
the better you'll be.
So when we speak, our practice is to speak from that you are.
Now watch this. What you said then?
That's what you
yes,
are.
Watch this. Our oneness language has been stopped and interfered by the language of the ego.
So God only hears the language of oneness.
That's right. That's right. God only hears the language of himself as one in the universe speaking. The same voice that spoke to Moses is inside of us. The ego is what causes us not to hear the original voice of God as us. There is a sound that God made that our ears should hear, but because of the ego, we don't.
So God, just hear me.
That's right.
Hear me.
That's right.
And I don't have to say anything else. God, hear me.
Now, I spoke to a man on the phone last night. His brother's in the hospital. He's in his 80s, and they don't know whether he's going to live. I told him, I said, I served notice on his contracts. And I said, I saw me and you stand before the auditors and the facilitators. And I saw his brother's contract laid out on the table.
Wow.
And I called the facilitators and the angels that's been with his brother for years. I said, this contract I set before you. If there's any clause in there with a dot or a tittle, make his heart wiggle and cause him to take a step and stay in the middle path. And if there's anything out of place, don't let him come back. But if the contract makes a comma or a mark on the paper, if it ain't nothing but a smidgen, a rubbing of the ink smeared on the paper, I want you, God, to make sure. And I said this to him just like I'm talking to you. I said, he said in the book that I was sick and you didn't come and visit me. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. Naked, you didn't clothe me. And he said, if you've done it unto the least of them, you've done it unto me. I said, your brother is now God in the bed. And when you see him, you're going to see God in the bed. And God said, if I was sick and you come to visit me, I came in you to visit myself in the bed. Wow. And if the contract is set right, I said, pull everything out of it. Pull everything out of the contract. On the table and beside the bed. Now, if it is time to go, you won't find nothing that'll send him back. But if he's ready and finished not, he's got to come back. My God, somebody take my hat off.
Because no one leaves before time.
You can't. You can't.
Their mission is done. Whether we see it or not, their mission is done. The mission is done.
The ego is what causes us not to hear the original voice of God in us as us. There is a sound that God made that who our ears should hear. Acts 2
That's good.
and 2.
That's so good. That's so good.
I think I'll buy you a hot dog and see if that can choke you up. If anything else don't choke you, you need to be choked till all of God come out of you.
Not literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, I just metaphorically speaking, ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing. You used to sing that, didn't you? That's Diana Ross, baby. That ain't that right? That's
Tammy Terrell.
The Four Tops, ain't it?
Tammy Terrell.
Tammy Terrell.
And Marvin Gaye.
And Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Oh, Sister Gaye, Marvin. Yeah. Okay, Marvin. The boy I was talking to last night, his name was Marvin.
Yes, I know.
Marvin.
Yes, I know.
Hey, look. Hey. We are the world. We are the people.
We are the children.
We are the people, the children and the people. Sure. Y'all better not mention me. I go on the road singing.
Yes, you will.
And God will starve. Put on your walking shoes.
You have to really live then.
Put on your
walking in your body.
Put on your dancing shoes.
But you make me think though. That's what a lot of the sages entered into when they realized that they weren't their bodies. That's and they got into this, and they could go years without sleep.
That's right.
Years without eating.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm not saying do that, but I'm just saying
look,
they entered into that.
You about the thing. And you know, God wants to hear this stuff come out of us, but somebody's scared. Somebody's scared to be called the eternal essence of God.
They still typing. I'm so glad.
I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus set me free. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me, singing glory, hallelujah. He lifted me. Oh!
I'm going on the road.
I'm going on the road. If I have a flat tire, I'm going to say, God, blow it back up.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Jim, for posting the how to give and giving them the links and everything. Thank you so much for that. And let's see. Everybody's saying thank you, and they're so glad, and I'm so glad. Wow. This is a good session. It helped me. Did it help you?
Bless my liver to a clipper.
Yeah, that's good when you preach yourself happy.
Yes, that's right.
Listen, guys, I want you to hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. If you haven't done it, please hit the like button. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please do that right now. We will be back on Tuesday night at 7, Lord willing, if nothing happens to change that. And in the meantime, thank you for your gifts that you've been sending to Pastor and myself. It's been wonderful how you guys have been giving and supporting us. And thank you guys for remembering to support Cornerstone, the virtual church that we are, and keeping it as a Bible church. And we thank you for that, for remembering to give your tithes and your offerings and sending it in. And by the way, if you don't know how to do that, we have it on the screen. Jill posted it in the comment section. You can always text it to CLC Greensboro to 73256, or you can paypal.me/cornerstone35, or you can P.O. box it to 36259 in Greensboro.
Or you can put it in the mail and send it to the house.
Those who know our address. But if not, you can send it to the P.O. box, and Vern will make sure we get it. And by the way, Vern is my one and only right arm when it comes to Cornerstone. She has really, really been there for us, and she's always doing those things behind the scenes that nobody else sees. She's always the one that does it, and she's my chief cook and bottle washer. And now I've got some others, but she's been my right arm for a long, long time. Thank you so much, Vern.
Thank you, Vern.
And Vincent Kelly, we thank you for being in here.
Sing glory.
Thank
Hallelujah.
you, Vincent. Thank you for
Yvette,
your love offering last week, Vincent.
Yvette,
Thank
go
you
on
so
to
much for
look,
that.
Yvette, go on to the doctor and get that back checked out and come on back and tell us the good news.
Tell them how your back's doing.
Oh, it's a back.
Tell them the good part of your back.
I'm coming up and down the stairs better,
Mhm.
and I can walk across the room and come back and grab my walker when I get back and rested it.
And
go
there are
again.
days when he's able to move around real good
That's right.
without it. So
I'm still walking and squawking and
and
talking.
those are the days when he overdoes it. So
I'm always ready to kill a rock, break a train, and dare a piece of iron to catch rheumatism. This kind of stuff that I'm using, you can't lose.
okay, we heard that.
That's right.
All right, guys. We love you so much. Thank
We'll
you
see
for
you on the
tuning in.
turnaround. Is that right?
The turnaround.
The turnaround.
What's the turnaround?
That's when you get so far you can't go no way. You turn around and go
Turn
back.
around.
I got you covered on both ends. Make a duck.
Oh my
Look.
goodness.
And
That's the turnaround.
yeah, that's the turnaround. Make a airplane have a flat tire in the sky.
All right, guys. We're gonna take off here.
See ya.